My name is Nkosazana. I also go by DIY Princess. I love DIY so much. I'm currently just revamping my house. So first thing I did was to start in the bathroom. There it was just, the goal was to do a budget-friendly kind of decor. So what I focused on was just to paint. So I did 2 feature walls. I added some shelves, put in some paintings as well, and it actually turned out very well. So now I've moved on to my guest room. And in my guest room, what I'm thinking of doing is to just keep it white. That will be my base color. And also I'll be adding a feature wall, and then I'll just be decorating the whole room. So previously this room was peach, a dark peach. So what I wanted was to bring in more light into the room. So I've painted it white, just so the paint that I'll be putting on the feature wall comes out nicely and more bright. I put on a base coat that's currently white, and then I'll be adding a nice blush pink for the feature wall just to make it look bigger. So while we wait for our feature wall paint to dry up, I'll just be showing you what I did to prepare the wall for painting. What I'm about to do now is open up the cracks and then fill them up with polyfiller. But before doing that, I'll just put on my goggles and mask for safety purposes. It is so important to prepare your walls before painting. This helps with making sure that in the long run, if you don't do it, the paint lifts and then you find that the crack widens. So what you need to do is to just open up the crack, put in some polyfiller, and then prepare your wall just before you paint. I'm using a scraper, the corner of the scraper, to actually just hit the wall just so that the crack may open. So what happens is that when you hit the wall, the excess paint and dirt falls off. Sometimes you might have drilled in nails onto the wall, and that might result in holes when you take out the nails. So before you paint, it's so important to also close up those. So what I did was that I took out nails and then closed those up with polyfiller. So I have polyfiller here. I also have a container that I've recycled. I also have a jug of water. So this is 3 cups of water. The ratio of water to polyfiller should be approximately 2:1, but that is stipulated in all the instructions at the back, so do follow that. The aim is to achieve a more paste-like consistency. It shouldn't be too runny, also it shouldn't be too thick so that it can get into the cracks when you apply it. So now we are done, and this is the kind of consistency you need to have for your crack. So it's almost like a cake batter consistency. One thing to note about polyfiller is that it dries up quickly. So it's quite important to make sure that before you mix your polyfiller, the crack is already open. I'm going to be using a scraper to apply the polyfiller. One thing to note is that polyfiller comes in different colors. So if your wall you are going to be painting white, it's quite important to make sure that you get the polyfiller that dries white. So what you want to do here is to make sure that you apply polyfiller inside the crack, and then once the crack is filled, you just apply one on top so that when you scrape, the crack completely closed. So I'll be using the roller brush for the wall, the wider space, and then I'll also be using the small brushes for the edges and also just for the windowsill. While waiting for the polyfiller to dry up, we got a head start and just started with the painting. So what I'm going to do now is just sand off the excess polyfiller, and then we'll move over to the exciting part, the feature wall. It's important to put masking tape around the wall that you'll be painting, just to prevent any smudging around the wall. I went with this pastel pink color for the feature wall. Remember, I did 2 coats of white paint underneath. For some walls, you'd need to prime before you paint. We are now done with painting the first coat of the feature wall. Once the paint has completely dried up, we will paint the second coat, and then once that's done, we will move back the furniture and then I'll decorate.
For home renovation and DIY solutions, visit Gelmar in store or browse online.